Today, we've got more exciting information for the Galaxy S24 series, including the launch confirmation and the specs. Let me know in the comments who out there is waiting for the Galaxy S24, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech. So first up, we've got news of an early launch, and we now have a post from Ice Universe on Weibo, and he says it's going to be launching on January the 18th, which is almost a month earlier than last year. It's reported that the decision to launch sooner is to combat the high demand for the iPhone 15 series. Now next up, we've got news that the Galaxy S24 could also see a better Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 than other phones, thanks to a special fabrication for Samsung. According to Gamma Burst, Qualcomm are going to be working on two versions of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. One of them is going to be a 4nm on TSMC's N4P node, and then the other is going to be a 3nm chipset on the N3E process node. Now, I've never heard of Gamma Burst before, and the information seems to be coming from LinkedIn profiles, so take this one with a grain of salt for now. Next up, we've got news of a change to the camera setup, and interestingly, a new telephoto lens. According to Ice Universe, the Galaxy S24 Ultra is going to change the 10x telephoto to a 5x telephoto, and it's going to be a 1/2.52-inch 50-megapixel sensor with 0.7 micrometer pixels. Now this is a downgrade in zoom capabilities, as its predecessor had 10x zoom, but with a much better sensor at 5x zoom, it should result in better images overall. It's just going to affect the higher zoom levels. We've also got more confirmations that the S24 Ultra is going to be using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in all regions, and there's not going to be an Exynos processor for the flagship model. The Galaxy S24 and the S24 Plus will, however, be using the Exynos 2400 depending on the region. And we've also had a benchmark of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 appear on Geekbench, and it got a single core score of 2,213 and then a multi-core score of 7,048. The benchmark comes from the new ROG 8 phone, and of course, scores will improve as time goes on, and Samsung has a lot more time to optimize this, as well as the possibility of a different chip from the previous report. Now, one of the biggest changes for the S24 Ultra is going to be the new titanium frame, and of course, we had the Apple event a couple of weeks ago which showed the new iPhones with the titanium frames, and phone manufacturers tend to follow the same path and use the same materials for the flagships. And of course, titanium not only looks and feels better, but it's also stronger and more durable while being a lighter metal, so all round a good improvement. We can only assume that the S24 Ultra is going to follow in the footsteps of Apple with aluminium and titanium, but we're going to have to wait and see. Another big change is the display for the S24 Ultra, which is now reportedly coming with a flat display. Now personally, I like the curved displays, but it's very apparent in the comment that many other people don't. We've also got the Pixel 8 Pro getting rid of the curved display in favor of a flat display, so I can only assume that market research is telling these companies to do away with the curved displays and introduce flat ones. Now, of course, the S24 Ultra is also going to come with a built-in S Pen, and it's going to be a lot better for the S Pen use, and you can go right up to the edge of the display if it's flat. Now, for those excited for the Samsung Galaxy S24 series, we're now going to run through the full specs, design, and pricing for each model to help you guys decide which one is right for you. For my regular viewers, you guys have seen this, so just skip to the next video, but if you're new here, then hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. The standard Galaxy S24 is coming with a 6.1-inch 120Hz dynamic AMOLED display. We get a resolution of 2340 by 1080, and it's going to be using Samsung's new M13 OLED panels protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2. We get a 12-megapixel punch-hole camera for the selfies, then on the rear it's a 50-megapixel primary camera, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 10-megapixel telephoto, and of course it's going to be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in South Korea and USA, while European users are going to be getting the Exynos 2400. We get 12GB of RAM and a choice of 256 or 512GB storage, and this is going to be a UFS 4.1. It comes with a 3900 mAh battery, and while fast charging is still unknown, we're hoping to see an upgrade to something like 40 watts, but we do know that we're getting 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. Now it's coming with One UI 6 based on Android 14, and it's expected to launch from about $850 to $900, and that's going to be in February 2024. Now next up, we've got the Galaxy S24 Plus with a 6.7-inch 120Hz dynamic AMOLED display. We get an upgraded Quad HD Plus resolution of 3120 by 1440, and it's going to be using Samsung's new M13 OLED panel, and again protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2. We get a 12 megapixel punch hole camera for the selfies, then on the rear again it's a 50 megapixel primary, a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 10 megapixel telephoto. It's going to be powered up by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in South Korea and USA, and again Europe users are going to get the Exynos 2400, and again we get 12 GB of RAM and then the choice of 256 or 512 storage, which will be UFS 4.1. It comes with a 4700 mAh battery, and while fast charging again is unknown, we're hoping to see an upgrade to something like 40 watts, and again we get 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. It's coming with One UI 6 based on Android 14, and it's expected to launch from about $1,050. Now finally, we've got the most premium, the Galaxy S24 Ultra. And with the S24 Ultra, we've got a 6.8-inch 120Hz dynamic AMOLED display. It's got a resolution of 3088 by 1440, and again it's using Samsung's new M13 OLED panel, protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2. We get a 12 megapixel punch hole camera for the selfies, then on the rear it's a 200 megapixel primary camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, we get a 50 megapixel 3x telephoto, as well as a 10 megapixel telephoto with 10x optical zoom. Despite previous rumors, it's going to be powered up by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in all regions, and it's only the S24 and the S24 Plus that are still going to be using the Exynos. And with the S24 Ultra, we get 16 GB of RAM with up to 1 TB of storage, and of course it's UFS 4.1. It comes with a 5000 mAh battery, and while fast charging is still unknown, when it comes to the Ultra, we're hoping for an upgrade of something closer to 60 watts, and we're also going to get 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. Now it's coming with One UI 6 based on Android 14, and it's expected to launch from $1,250. So overall, the Samsung Galaxy S24 series seems to be focusing on the user experience in the cameras. They're changing the Ultra to a flat display for better usability, and reducing the zoom lenses to focus on improving the closer shots. Now of course, we're going to get a better battery life and performance thanks to the new chipset, and hopefully the lack of physical changes means we'll see them at a similar price point to last year, as many other manufacturers have managed this. Now of course, as soon as anything else comes in, I'm going to be sharing it straight away, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing in the future.